steroids, and I take it as a compliment because there's no other excuse to me.
Is anything wrong with doing steroids to achieve that sort of physique for a movie either?
Yeah.
I do think there's something wrong with lying.
Interviewer: do you think there's anything wrong with using steroids to achieve that sort of physique for a movie? Jake Paul: yeah, I do think there's something wrong with lying about it, and I'm not on steroids. I take it as a compliment because there's no other excuse for me knocking out all of your champions. Narrator: Joe Rogan just dropped a bombshell on Jake Paul, exposing him with leaked footage about steroids. Dana White accused Jake of juicing up, but Jake denied it, saying he doesn't even know what those pills are. However, Joe's footage suggests otherwise. According to Joe, using steroids isn't the real issue. Lying about it is the sin. Now, you might wonder why Jake would even consider using steroids, especially when he's always showcasing intense training videos. It's comments like Joe's that probably pushed him toward this illegal path. There's no chance in hell that Jake Paul would survive against the Mike Tyson who beat Marvis Frazier. And it's not just Joe. Everyone's been saying Jake has no chance against Mike Tyson. Mike isn't just a name, he's a legacy in the boxing world. He was Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year in 1986 and 1988, and he defeated several former and future champions, including Trevor Berbick, Bone Crusher Smith, Tony Tucker, Frank Bruno, and Razor Ruddock. These guys were real boxers. They didn't need steroids. They were legit fighters like Tyson. Now Jake has decided to step into the ring with Tyson. He challenged Mike, who accepted, and now Jake feels he has to do something drastic to win. That's why he's allegedly taking steroids. Here comes Dana White, the president of UFC, who openly accused Jake of using steroids. Dana said, "I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids, so I want to randomly steroid test you for the next 2 years." Dana White is best known as the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, UFC, the leading organization in mixed martial arts. Narrator: Dana White has held his position as the president of the UFC since 2001. Under his leadership, the UFC has grown from a relatively obscure organization to a global sports powerhouse. He has been instrumental in promoting the sport, securing TV deals, and expanding the UFC brand internationally. This guy knows fighting. With just one glance, he can tell who's on steroids and who's genuinely gaining power. Narrator: so when Dana challenged Jake Paul to take a steroid test to prove his innocence, Jake mockingly reacted. Jake Paul: Dana, I accepted every part of your challenge. I said I would fight Masvidal in MMA. Steroid test me whenever you want. It's 2 weeks after my fight, and I'm not on steroids. I take it as a compliment because there's no other excuse for me knocking out all of your champions. Narrator: this was 2 weeks before his fight with Tommy Fury. Jake sounded super confident, claiming he'd take any test Dana threw at him. But guess what? He never actually took the test. Despite his massive biceps and pumped-up muscles, Jake got wrecked by Tommy Fury in that fight. It was astonishing to see him lose so badly, especially after all his trash-talking and the way he looked. Jake seemed more powerful and brutal talking trash about Tommy before the fight, but in the end, it didn't matter. Tommy Fury defeated him decisively. Narrator: so there you have it. Jake Paul, steroids, and a whole lot of drama. Now, let's talk about Jake Paul's journey, starting from his fight with Tyron Woodley. The fight went the full 8 rounds. Jake showed off a consistent jab and landed some solid right hands. Tyron, a former UFC welterweight champ, turned up the heat in the later rounds. He even rocked Jake with a right hand in the 4th round that sent him into the ropes. Despite Tyron's strong moments, Jake's early dominance and higher activity rate helped him secure the victory. Narrator: when you're in the ring, you can feel just how hard your opponent's punches are. Tyron Woodley felt Jake's punches and thought, this guy might be on something. Tyron later said, Tyron Woodley, when we did the face-to-face, I asked him directly if he was on PEDS. His answer to me was no, but there will be testing stipulated in the contract. Narrator: well, when Tyron asked, Jake said no, but who would admit to that? Jake didn't. Narrator: Jake Paul wouldn't want to get banned for using steroids. His whole career is on the line. Despite his denials, Tyron Woodley publicly speculated that Jake might be using PEDS, especially since there was no drug testing for their fight. This absence of mandatory drug testing only fueled the controversy. Narrator: usually big boxing matches involve some form of drug testing to keep things fair. In professional boxing, especially for major fights, organizations like the World Anti-Doping Agency, WADA, or the Voluntary Anti-Doping Association, VADA, conduct drug testing. The lack of such testing for the Paul Woodley fights was unusual and added to the controversy. Narrator: recently, in a promotional conference, Mike Tyson himself revealed his suspicions about Jake being on steroids, suggesting it's having a bad impact on his physical appearance. Mike said, "Mike Tyson, I don't know if he's in his prime. He's fat. He should be lean and mean, but he's fat and funky. It's hard to believe he's going to win. He can't even knock out Nick Diaz, who's 40 pounds lighter. How's he going to knock me out?" Narrator: in boxing, physical conditioning is crucial. A boxer's fitness level can greatly affect their performance in the ring. Narrator: their performance, endurance, and ability to take and give punches are crucial in boxing. Even great fighters like Mike Tyson faced criticism when they looked out of shape. Tyson's later career saw a decline partly because of conditioning issues. Look at Andy Ruiz Jr. He shocked the world by beating Anthony Joshua in 2019, but in their rematch, Ruiz came in significantly overweight, which likely contributed to his loss. Narrator: Mike Tyson emphasizes that a boxer should be in peak physical condition, saying they should be lean and mean, which is the ideal athletic look. On the other hand, being fat and funky suggests a lack of discipline or dedication to training, which is crucial in boxing. The skepticism about Jake's ability to win comes from concerns about his fitness, translating into poor performance in the ring. Nick Diaz, although not primarily known for boxing, is used as a benchmark in this critique. If Jake can't knock out Diaz despite a big weight difference, it highlights his inadequacies. Narrator: so, you think Mike Tyson just stopped at calling Jake fat? Oh no, he went in harder. Sitting so close to Jake, he didn't hold back. Tyson roasted Jake, saying, "Mike Tyson, he didn't knock out Tommy Fury. What's the other guy? Anderson Silva. He thinks knocking out those little guys counts. How are you going to knock me out? He never knocked out a real man." Narrator: Tyson's skepticism comes from his deep knowledge of boxing. In boxing, knocking out an opponent is a big deal. It shows real power and skill. Jake Paul, who started as a social media star, jumped into the boxing ring and got a lot of attention, but his wins come with asterisks about the quality of his opponents. Narrator: let's start with Jake's fight with Anderson Silva. Silva is a former UFC middleweight champion who faced Jake in a boxing match. Even though Silva was older and more of an MMA guy, Jake won by decision, but again, no knockout. Tyson's critique is all about Jake not proving himself against top-tier, prime boxers. He thinks if Jake can't knock out fighters like Diaz or Silva, how could he possibly fare against a legend like Mike Tyson? Narrator: if Jake can't knock out fighters like Fury and Silva, whom Tyson calls little guys, then Jake isn't ready to compete at the highest level. Since we're already talking about Joe Rogan, here's what he had to say. Joe Rogan: well, I don't think there's anything wrong with doing steroids to achieve that sort of physique for a movie. Yeah, I do think there's something wrong with lying about it. Narrator: Joe Rogan gets it. He knows that getting a movie-ready body often takes more than just hitting the gym. Sometimes it means using steroids. This idea fits with how celebrity matches roll. They want those extreme transformations for the sake of art and realism. And let's be real, if you're stepping into the ring with Mike Tyson, you might need a little extra something. But Rogan is clear about one thing. The problem isn't using steroids, it's lying about it. It's like saying you made the perfect cake from scratch, but actually used a mix. The deceit is what gets people. It misleads the public and creates unrealistic expectations. Narrator: when celebrities lie about using steroids, they're basically selling a myth. They make people think that those ripped bodies are achievable naturally when they're not. This especially hits the youth hard. They see their idols looking superhuman and think they can do the same, which can lead to body image issues and unhealthy practices. Narrator: and then, just when you think it couldn't get worse for Jake, here comes Kenny Ko. Kenny is a big name in the fitness and bodybuilding world. He dropped another bomb. Kenny Ko: I find it very, very suspicious that for some reason, whenever a drug test gets brought up, for instance, when Fury wanted that in the contract, Jake Paul turns them down. So you should think to yourself, it's probably because he's not natural. Narrator: drug testing in professional sports is essential. It ensures fairness and keeps the competition clean. Major boxing organizations require fighters to undergo testing for banned substances. When athletes dodge or refuse these tests, it raises eyebrows. It's like waving a big red flag that says, I might be hiding something. High-profile cases in sports have shown that avoiding tests leads to suspicions and allegations of using PEDs. Narrator: so why is Jake refusing these tests? If he claims he's natural and built his body with hard work, why not just prove it? His resistance makes people think he might not be as clean as he says. Kenny Coe's point is clear. If Jake is really natural, why is he so against proving it?